So the 24-25 NBA season is in the bag, and it's an old synthetic sports tradition. We got to do it every year. We're recapping every team's season in 3 words or less. Before we recap every NBA team season in 3 words or less, if you haven't already, make sure you give this video a like, give us a subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on one of our videos. But first, a word from the sponsor of today's video, us. It's us, guys. Got a quick little announcement. We've seen a lot of comments on videos about how much you guys love our long form videos, our retrospectives, and well, just thought we'd give you a sneak peek on our next one.
This should help you remember everything.
This fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
I hope he never wins anything in Miami. He is dead to me.
Not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
For the Miami Heat, a stunning ending to one of the more compelling seasons in NBA history. LeBron James captures that elusive title he's so desperately coveted. Allen, his three-pointer, bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
Atlanta Hawks, I put stopgap year. Like, you know, they got the #1 pick last year. Kind of felt like a development year for the young guys. You trade away DeJounte Murray, you bring in Dyson Daniels, who, you know, blossomed with the Hawks now. You bring in Porzingis for next season. Seems like they're going to make a playoff push next year, but this year kind of felt like a development year for them.
I was maybe too optimistic. I said future looks good. I mean, it was looking pretty bad with DeJounte Murray. Like, that trade was just kind of a disaster, giving up future picks. But Jalen Johnson, Reese Shea was pretty good. You got Onyeka Okongwu. You got some players moving forward where, like, prior to this season, things weren't looking too hot, but I think it looks good now. Boston Celtics, worst possible scenario.
You know what? I put that change it to something else.
Okay, well, I think it was basically the worst thing that could have happened. I guess technically it could have been worse. They could have missed the playoffs. Jaylen Brown could have got injured as well, but you go from winning a title to now Jason Tatum, his Achilles, he's out for at least a year. Who knows, like, how he's going to be when he comes back. Drew Holiday's gone. Porzingis is gone. Al Horford might be leaving soon. It's basically the worst possible thing that could have happened.
I put second apron victims. Like, honestly, this probably would have happened whether they won the title or not. If Tatum even hadn't blown out his Achilles, like, they probably were still going to have to cut salary because they were so far over the second apron. They were so deep in the luxury tax. They probably were going to have to part with, you know, Porzingis and Holiday. And this is why we said, you know, a couple weeks ago when we did the Dynasty video that dynasties might just not be a thing, because if you get a core that you're all paying this much money, probably won't last beyond like 3 years. Brooklyn Nets, praying for Giannis. I mean, they've got all this cap room. They've got all these young guys they just drafted. I'm really shocked they didn't trade any of them on draft night for anything, any future assets to try to go get Giannis or anything. But, you know, they're just kind of, you know, floating in the ether, just hoping Giannis demands out of the trade deadline.
I said front office sucks. I mean, even the hoping for Giannis plan, I think, is done because you're going to have Giannis and no one else around him. I guess they made the Mikal trade before the season started, got some future picks, but draft night was a disaster for them. The front office there just, it sucks. Charlotte Hornets, kind of similar. I just said they always suck.
I put the exact same thing. They always suck.
I mean, they do. Literally. No other team is like this where they never make the playoffs. They never have anything going for them. The team's a disaster. LaMelo's always hurt. Brandon Miller, whatever.
They can't even score big in the draft lottery either.
Yeah, like, just, they're a disaster. They always suck.
Chicago Bulls, I put definition of insanity. Like, they won 39 games last year. They won 39 games this season prior.
Right.
At least they finally traded away Zach LaVine. They're trying to build around, I guess, Josh Giddey and, you know, Kobe White. Although I'm now seeing rumors they might look to trade Kobe White. So I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, again, definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't talk about the front office because, yeah, you're spot on. I just said weirdly strong finish because, like, they were pretty bad the entire year and then just out of nowhere at the end of the season, they really caught fire.
But I feel like they did that like 2 seasons ago.
They might have. I don't really remember, but but it was a weirdly strong finish. Josh Giddey played well. I'm not really high on them moving forward, but they had a weirdly strong finish. You got to say that. Cleveland Cavaliers, big playoff disappointment. I would have loved to, be high on this team. The regular season was awesome. The guys they have, they got some great players, great starting five. I think they'll be good moving forward, but just going out in the second round in 5 games. I know they were injured, but that's a big disappointment given the incredible regular season they had.
Yeah, I put overachieved, then flopped. I mean, to go out, not only in the second round, to go out in 5 on your home floor, not even win 1 home game against the Pacers. Now, look, I know the Pacers went on to make the finals and push the Thunder all the way to 7, but to win 64 games in the regular season, then go out in the second round just is, big disappointment. Dallas Mavericks, task failed successfully. I mean, you make the worst trade in NBA history, sending out Luka. Look, AD is good, but you could have gotten AD, Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, and every first round pick the Lakers have to offer. They still would have done the trade. And you got basically none of that. But you luck into the first overall pick, and now you got Cooper Flag and Kyrie and AD. So you know what? You fucked up at midseason, and then, I mean, you didn't redeem yourself at the end of the year because you just got lucky. So, task failed successfully.
I mean, you said it a couple times, and I said lucky as fuck. Basically summed it up. Worst trade in NBA history, most shocking trade in NBA history, and somehow, even though you're 1 game away from making the playoffs, AD even came back. I don't even know why he did. You luck into the number 1 overall pick and get a generational prospect. I'm so pissed about this. Y'all were lucky as fuck. Denver Nuggets, still a contender. There was some doubt with the Denver Nuggets. The defense was bad. The supporting cast isn't great. They don't have enough shooters. Fire their head coach before the playoffs. And you still push the team that wins the championship to 7 games. You still got Jokic. You still have Murray. You add Cam Johnson. I really love that pickup. Aaron Gordon, what a playoff run for him. Despite all the doubts and, it kind of looked like they were fading a little bit, this team's still a contender. I think next season in the West, besides OKC, there's not a lot of teams you'd pick ahead of them.
Yeah, I'm a bit more pessimistic.
Okay.
I put maybe hit ceiling. That's my thing. You push the Thunder to 7. I honestly don't know if they can do any better than that. That's my problem. I do like the moves they've made this offseason. You bring in Cam Johnson from the Nets, like you mentioned. Bruce Brown's coming back. Tim Hardaway Jr. is coming in from Detroit. So I like the moves that they've made, but trying to go against Oklahoma City, at least for the next couple years, is a lot to ask. Detroit Pistons, historic overachievement. Now, it's not the most overachieving season in NBA history. That's still always going to go to the 2008 Celtics, 42 win improvement, win the title and all that. But to go from 14 wins last season to 44 this year, a 30-game improvement, make the playoffs, push the Knicks to 6 games. Would have loved to see them win a game at home in the playoffs. But, that's the only negative you can say for this season. What a year for the Pistons. What a year for Cade, JB Bickerstaff, that entire team. And honestly, I think they have a chance to do big things this coming year.
Yeah, I said Detroit is back. This is the first time in 20 years where it feels like the Pistons are finally back. I mean, they made the playoffs with Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond. They had some years where they were decent, but this is the first time where they have that, toughness back. They're starting fights. They'll scrap with anyone. They don't give a fuck. So I just love seeing that, growing up where the Pistons were this great team. They were tough as hell, great defensive team. It finally feels like the Pistons are getting back to that. Golden State Warriors, what could have been? I mean, I don't think the Warriors would have won the title. I wasn't picking them to beat the Thunder. I'm not even sure they would have beat the Timberwolves, although after winning game 1, they had a great chance. But if Steph doesn't get hurt, they could have made the run. They had the veterans. They had that incredible end to finish the season. So I think for Warriors fans, at least, you're going to look back on this, especially if they don't reach the second round again or don't have another playoff run, and just think what could have been if Steph didn't get hurt?
Yeah, I put brutal injury timing. I mean, you summed it up perfectly. You win game 1 against the Wolves, basically without Steph the entire game.
Right.
Who knows what could have been the rest of that series if he stays healthy. And yeah, this is really going to come back to bite them if they never get back to that point in the next couple years. Houston Rockets took big swing. I think my preseason prediction was takes big swing. I was thinking more so at the trade deadline, not necessarily in the offseason. But, they had a great season, 53 wins, 2nd seed in the West, got bounced by a more experienced veteran Golden State team, not too surprising. And now this offseason, they're taking their big all-in swing. They land Kevin Durant. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, I said future looks bright. You have all these young players. You have this breakout season, incredible defensive team, great coach. You have everything. And I think even the KD trade, it works now, but also you don't sacrifice a ton of future players or assets for your future. So really in Houston, the future looks bright for next season and well into the future. Indiana Pacers, so damn close. Just heartbreaking. still feel for Pacers fans forever. I'll probably feel for them, especially if they don't get back to this level. Halliburton doesn't get hurt. He was torching early on. They really could have won the title, and it would have been maybe the best run by a team I've ever seen, like not just in the NBA, but basically across like American sports.
Yeah, I put anti-storybook ending.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just, you get all the way to the end of the rainbow and the leprechauns booby trapped it. Like, you know, not only do you get to game 7 and lose, but your star player blows out his Achilles tendon, is now probably going to miss the entire next season. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. I feel so bad for Pacers fans. Los Angeles Clippers, actually decent year. I mean, I think I was terrified going into the season that the Clippers were going to suck because the Thunder owned their first round pick. So if that Clippers pick was in the lottery and the Thunder had a chance to get Cooper Flag, I was like, might just shut the league down at that point, because what's the point if that happens? But you know what? Fair play to Kawhi and James Harden, at least in the regular season. But they had a spectacular year. They won 50 games. First year in the new arena actually made the Clippers really interesting and worth watching. Where they go from here, I have no idea, but at least for last year, pretty decent.
Yeah, I said proved everyone wrong. I was kind of on the same page. Like, I didn't think they were going to be one of the worst teams in the league with Kawhi, like missing the start of the season, but I definitely thought this team would be a lottery team, and damn, they were great. Tyronn Lue, James Harden, Zubac had a great year. You had like Batum, Derrick Jones Jr., all those guys. Chris Dunn deserves a shout out. They just proved everyone wrong this season. Los Angeles Lakers, future is set. I'm not high on this team the next couple of years. LeBron just opted into his deal, $53 million, I think it is. That doesn't give you a lot of room to work with. I don't like the backcourt pairing of Austin Reeves and Luka, just can't play defense. But for the future, you got Luka Doncic. It looked like the Lakers were going to be screwed. They didn't like have a ton of future assets. They didn't really have a ton of really good young players. And then here you go. Here's Luka.
That's why I put all-time fleece. Touched on it a bit in the Mavericks entry on this list, but you get one of the best young players in the NBA for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a first-round pick. Like, again, the Lakers would have sent out Dalton Knecht. They would have sent out Austin Reeves. They would have sent out all their first-round picks if that's what the Mavericks demanded. And for some reason, Rob Pelinka just talked Nico Harrison down like the fucking genius that he is, or I guess like the idiot that Nico is.
Right.
So, you know, will they win a title in the next couple years? I don't know, but they've got their future set for the next like 5+ years. And also, apparently, Luka's getting in shape and he's on a diet now.
He does look skinny.
So,
dangerous.
Revenge season, maybe, for Luka? Are we getting rookie year skinny Luka back? Maybe? Memphis Grizzlies, what's the plan? Like, what are we doing here? You fire Taylor Jenkins right before the end of the season. You replace him with this Isalo guy who's apparently supposed to be like a genius from Europe. You trade Desmond Bane in the offseason for, you know, 4 first-round picks and 2 rotation players. You still got Ja. You still got Jaren Jackson. I don't really know what the plan is here.
I'm not sure either, but what I said is second half disaster. During the start of the season, it's easy to forget about, like, they were a top 4 team in the West. They were playing really good basketball, really on both ends of the court. They were one of like top 5 offensive, defensive rating teams. It looked like, you know, this was going to be that bounce back year after the previous season was so bad. They were all injured. And then the second half happened and just everything went to shit. Miami Heat, let's start over. I don't think they're gonna start over, but they really need to. Like, this team, like, it's peaked. They're not gonna do much. Maybe they can bring in a free agent. Maybe they end up trading for Giannis. I don't know, but they didn't get KD. Looked like they were like one of the 2 final teams negotiating for him. You got Bam, you got Tyler Hero, you got, you know, Chloe Ware. You got some players there, but like, I would trade some guys and like finally start them.
Yeah, I put keeps playing hardball. Like, we keep getting the rumors out of Miami of what they're doing in these trade negotiations. Like the KD one where apparently they offered Wiggins, but they weren't offering like Jaime Jaquez or Highsmith or, you know, Khalil Ware or like any draft capital whatsoever. It's like, okay, like keep having this like, oh, stoic gimmick of, oh, we're not giving up anybody. Like, you know, you're not going to get anybody then. As simple as that. Milwaukee Bucks, Dame experiment failed. I mean, I would have said this regardless of if he blown out his Achilles or not, but when they got him, they were expected to be like the best team in the Eastern Conference. This is expected to be the best duo in the Eastern Conference. You know, the Dame Giannis duo, like, oh, they perfectly complement each other. And back-to-back years where they go out in the first round, back-to-back years where they're not even like a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. It's just, for whatever reason, it hasn't worked, and it sucks to watch, but it's the truth.
Basically the exact same for me, just one word off. Dame trade failed. It just has. You basically summed it up, so I'll keep this quick. But now with the Achilles, I hate to see it. We love Dame, but they gave out these future assets, and now Dame's cut, which apparently he's super happy about. Still gets paid, can go wherever he wants. But yeah, just sums up everything. already cut after 2 seasons. You add Miles Turner. I mean, the front court's going to be awesome with him and Giannis, but with Dame's contract stretched out, like, this team really can't get better. Minnesota Timberwolves, best era ever. Back-to-back trips to the conference finals. We've never seen that in their franchise history, and I was even pessimistic on this team going to the season. I thought, trading Cat, in hindsight, I understand why they did it, given all these second apron trades, but it just looks so surprising. But you get back, it's still going to be tough. You got the Rockets, you got the Thunder, there's other good young teams, but this is their best era ever.
Yeah, I put season of halves. Like, early in the season, it kind of looked like, the Randall fit wasn't the right one. Like, he was really struggling to replace Cap, but the second half of the year, they really figured something out with him, handled the Lakers in the first round, handled Golden State in the second round, got beat by the Thunder in the conference finals, sure, but if they can keep that momentum up, you got Randall for a full season now, a full off season, continue to integrate him into the team, still think they could be a major player in the Western Conference. New Orleans Pelicans, this is where I put worst case scenario. I mean, you trade for DeJounte Murray and he blows out his Achilles, that's bad enough, but the guy you traded away for him, Dyson Daniels, goes on to be one of the most improved players in the entire NBA. So, not a great year. Zion, again, in and out of the lineup. You only win, 21 games this year after being a play-in team last season. And now Joe Dumars made one of the most baffling offseason trades we've ever seen, giving up an unprotected pick next year to move up 10 spots in the draft, to move up from 23 to 13, not to move up from 13 to 3. One of the worst trades I've ever seen, because that Pelicans pick next year, there's a non-zero chance it's the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, I just said Zion disaster continues. This season wasn't necessarily his fault, but once again, like you said, in and out of the lineup, he's injured. There was some optimism with this team, CJ, DeJounte Murray, Brandon Ingram, Zion, could this be a contender in the West? No, I mean, just ever since he's been there, it's 6 years now. It's just been a disaster.
That's crazy to think about. That
Insane.
It's been 6 years and they still can't figure it out.
New York Knicks, best I've seen. This is the best Knicks team I've ever seen. I think moving forward these next couple years with the East pretty much wide open, they have a very good chance to make the finals. Just incredible to see. It was a really good run. In some ways, if they don't choke game 1 against the Pacers, definitely could have won that series, but really good Knicks team, and personally for me, the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, I put Tibbs the scapegoat. Okay, I get it. He's got, restrictions as a coach. He's not the best coach in the world. But again, we're going on now almost a month since they fired him, maybe more than a month by the time this goes out. And just now they finally land on a coach, and it's a pretty lateral move for Mike Brown. They tried to flirt with a bunch of coaches that are currently employed. The dude breaks up with his girlfriend and then starts hitting on married women. What are we doing here? So the Knicks have their best season of our lifetime, and the coach gets the axe. Something about it just doesn't sit right with me. Oklahoma City Thunder, all-time team. Now, I know we do this thing in the NBA where you can't be an all-time team unless you win it over multiple years or whatnot, but I'm talking about just as a specific year. When you talk about the 24-25 Oklahoma City Thunder, this team for this year is one of the best NBA teams we've seen in recent memory. They're the best plus-minus they're the best plus-minus of all time. Yes, they got taken to 7 by the Indiana Pacers, but that is an excellent Pacers team with some voodoo magic on their side. They're one of the best defensive teams we've ever seen. They have the MVP. They have multiple all-defensive players, multiple all-NBA players. This is one of the best NBA teams we've seen in recent memory.
I said it finally happened. I mean, ever since the Sonics moved to Oklahoma City, they became the Thunder. They've been just there so many times. They made the finals, conference finals. It felt like they were so overdue to win a championship, even with this rebuild. They were bad for some time, but with the assets and the young players they had, it just felt like they were going to win a title. It was going to happen sooner rather than later, and it finally happened. So, credit to the Thunder, credit to their front office. They finally captured that title. Orlando Magic couldn't stay healthy. I mean, that's kind of just sums up their season. Still made the playoffs, still good to do that. You get Banchero back, Franz Wagner, they still were successful given how tough the injuries were, but could have, maybe done a lot more if they were more healthy. So hopefully next season you bring in Bane, hopefully you can be more healthy and kind of be a contender in the East.
Yeah, I put injury write-off. I mean, that's basically what this year was. Yes, they regressed down to 41 wins, but yeah, they could not stay healthy to save their lives. If they stay healthy next season with Desmond Bane, they'll be a player, especially now that the Eastern Conference is so incredibly wide open. But this past year, just write it off. It was an injury write-off year. 76ers predictably fell apart. Now, I don't think anyone expected them to be this bad,
right?
But the idea that this team consisting of Paul George and Joel Embiid would be derailed by injuries,
inconceivable.
I say this every year for one team, it feels like. Last year was the Suns, this time 76ers, another failed super team. It's not the way to build in the modern NBA. I don't know if teams are going to keep trying it. Seems like they've kind of cooled down on it, but this was just another example of a failed big three and a failed super team. Phoenix Suns, complete failure. What else can you really say? We made a video on it, the complete failure of the Phoenix Suns. It's fucking insane that you give up all these future assets, you have this big three, you still have KD and Book, and you don't make the play-in.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I put Beal's holding hostage because they want to get rid of him so badly, and he's just like, you know, I really enjoy the Phoenix weather. I love the sunshine. My family likes it here. I don't want to leave, and because my agent somehow swindled a no-trade clause into my contract, you fuckers can't get rid of me. By the way, I don't fault Beal at all for doing this. This is entirely the Suns' fault for trading for a guy that had a no-trade clause and not wondering, what if he regresses a lot? Right? And now we can't move him anymore. So yeah, fully support Beal. Like, do what you want, get your bag, live where you want. But man, it sucks if you're a Suns fan. Portland Trailblazers, ethical tank failed. Like, this apparently like was the whole pitch of flattening the draft odds. Like, oh, it's gonna de-incentivize teams from tanking. Well, that's what the Blazers did. We won a bunch of games at the end of the year, won 36 games and got diddly in the draft lottery. So whatever. In all seriousness though, this was a great season for the Blazers. We won like 15 more games than we were expected to, showed tons of development for the guys throughout the year. Yes, we missed the playoffs, but should be looking to maybe crack the play-in tournament next year.
Yeah, I said showed some life. Again, maybe I'm just too optimistic. I really want us back in the playoffs so we can go to playoff games. Call it cope if you want, but it was a pretty good season. Denny, love him moving forward. Tamani Kamara, just incredible on defense. Shaden, you know, had some moments. We'll see if Scoot develops. Like, they showed some life, and I think they're going to be competing for the play-in next year and possibly even make the playoffs. Sacramento Kings, what's happening here? Like, what the actual fuck is happening with this franchise? First, like, you have the light the beam team. You make the playoffs. It was this feel-good moment. Then 2 years later, somehow DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine are on the team. Like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, I put built Bulls East.
Yes.
I mean, that's your plan to compete in the Western Conference, is to basically do what the Bulls did like 4 or 5 years ago that did not work. I get it. They had to trade De'Aaron Fox, but Zach LaVine, really? That's the best you can do? It's just, man, feel for Sacramento fans. You want to talk about a team that can't get anything right? Like, it's them and Charlotte. Just can't do anything right. San Antonio Spurs, blood clots suck. I mean, this team was on their way to being at least a play-in team, maybe even a playoff team. They trade for De'Aaron Fox mid-season. Wemby's having an amazing year. He's blossoming into the superstar, and his season's cut short by one of like the genuinely most scary injuries out there. You know, an injury that could be potentially life-threatening if not properly diagnosed and properly treated. So you hope it's a one-off for Wemby like it was for like Brandon Ingram, and not, you know, a perpetual thing he has to deal with like with Chris Bosh.
I said amazing front office. I thought about, you know, mentioning the Wemby blood clots. I'm just trying to act like they're not even there because I don't want to even think that he could, you know, his career could be cut short.
If I can't see them, they're not real.
Exactly. The front office though, the De'Aaron Fox trade, you don't give up Castle in that trade. Then you do luck in to get in the second pick, get Dylan Harper, and then with the 14th pick, you take the guy I wanted the Blazers to draft before the draft. Carter Bryant, a defensive guy, can hit a three. This front office continues to cook, and I'm really excited for them next season. Toronto Raptors, this was kind of a cop-out. I had no idea what to say, so I said, really not sure. Like, you have Scotty Barnes there. He's a really good young player. You have RJ Barrett, who I'm not like super high on, but you know, he had a pretty good season. Mano quickly was out with injuries. Masai's now gone, so you know, we'll see kind of how the plan changes moving forward, but like, I didn't watch a ton of the Raptors this season. They really weren't like too relevant, but I'm really not sure what to think of them moving forward.
It's better than my cop-out answer that I put last year, which I think was just is in Canada. Something along those lines. Yeah, I'd say that I couldn't think of anything. I put complete reset year. I mean, you trade for Brandon Ingram at the trade deadline. Now,
that's right. Completely forgot about that. Sorry.
Masai is out the door now. They may be looking to move RJ Barrett. Like, it just kind of seems like they're almost trying to like start over with this new young duo of Ingram and Scotty Barnes, which, okay, I guess. Utah Jazz, stuck in hell. I mean,
it's true.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, worst record in the league. You land the 5th pick though, and yes, you do get Ace Bailey, although there are conflicting reports on his excitement about being there. Now, to be fair, I'm not sure how many star NBA players would be over the moon about going to Utah. But like the fact that there was rumors like, oh, is he gonna hold out? Like he didn't go there immediately with their other 1st round pick. Like, I I don't know. Vibes in Utah are not great right now.
I said most irrelevant team. There's just not much there. I mean, small markets, yeah, and players don't really want to go there. You have Markkanen, which, like, that's not super exciting. They just feel completely irrelevant. There's not many nights where I'm like, okay, let's throw on, NBA League Pass, searching through. Let's throw on the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, exactly.
That almost never happens, so there's just really not much going on in Utah right now. Washington Wizards, gotta always meme on them, I'm sorry, but French guy good. If you've seen our previous ones, young French guys. Alex Sarr, I'm fully on the Alex Sarr train. He had some awful moments in Summer League. He had some bad moments to start the season. Second half of the year, he had some really good moments. I love his game. You got something there with this young French guy, and he looks good.
He said that like a caveman, like French guy good.
Yeah, I had to build into the 3 words. It's the Wizards.
Of course.
Got a meme on them. Last one of this video.
Oh my God. I put 2019 guard lineup. You tweeted something about this, like on our Twitter account, like the lineup of like Marcus Smart, Chris Middleton, and CJ. Like that'd be a pretty solid, 1 through 3 in like 2018, 2019. Yeah. But in the big 2025, not as good. That's the video, guys. What are your 3 words for every NBA team this season? I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving it a like, as it really does help us out. And while you're here, why not check out some other videos as well? And don't forget to subscribe to Synthetic Sports.